Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today I figured I would do the grand reveal of where I'm going. First of all, I need to apologize to Carolyn's RV life. Sorry Carolyn, you can't join me. Even though I'm sure after you see this video, you probably will copy me, just like you've done for years. You always follow me around the world, and I wouldn't be surprised if you do this to me again. But I guess that's a chance I take. I gotta live my life, Carolyn. I have to say adios, and I hope your Mexican move goes well for you. Don't think you're gonna make it. There's a lot of problems with Mexican culture and their ideology and your ideology that actually don't mesh. And you're gonna discover that the hard way. But I'm a little more flexible of a person. In my life, I've lived in high rises in large cities. I've lived in the Arctic. Well, the subarctic, I guess you might say. I grew up in the Yukon, you know, that chunk of land next to Alaska. I know what it's like to walk to school in minus 35-degree weather, pitch black, dark. You know, there's very little daylight in the Yukon in the wintertime. I've lived in houses. I've lived, of course, in my RV for 8 years. I'm pretty flexible. I'm not one of these snowflake people that I have to have everything a certain way or I get upset. No, I'm flexible. Even last summer, for those of you who are my long-term viewers, I lived off-grid in the middle of nowhere in central British Columbia, a long ways from Vancouver. And guess what? It was fine. It was not perfect. Here's the kicker, folks. Life is not perfect wherever you are. Whether you're living in London, Manchester, Boston, Los Angeles, Vancouver, Tel Aviv, Istanbul, it don't matter. And I've traveled enough of the world, seen a lot of the big cities, you know, Tokyo, Havana, San Jose, Costa Rica, you know, Miami, LA, a lot of time in Vegas, a lot of time in Palm Springs, Paris, London, the list goes on and on, Jakarta. Yeah, so I've seen a bunch of the world, and I kind of started looking overseas about 8 to 10 years ago. First I was thinking about Costa Rica, because I'd been there. I rented an apartment briefly, and you know, it was okay. But Costa Rica, it's got some immigration issues. There's always a language barrier. Panama next door was a little bit easier in terms of their immigration program to allow people to move and bring a certain amount of goods that aren't going to be taxed. So for a while I thought Panama was good, and then I actually ran into some people that actually own land in Panama, and they go, nah, I just want to sell the land. They didn't build any houses. So while Panama, I'm sure, and Costa Rica, I'm sure it works for some people, but you tend to have a lot more money to live the lifestyle I would want. And what's the point if it's going to cost you 60 grand to live in Costa Rica, and it's going to cost you 60 grand a year to live in, you know, Canada or North America? What's the point, other than the weather, I guess? Other than the weather, but that's why they built planes. So I have searched many countries, and they had to be stable. They had to have a certain amount of Western influence and tolerance of Western culture, meaning foreigners. That's very important. A lot of places in the world are cheap, but they're not very tolerant to expats. You know, they're more resistant. They don't really appreciate that. So it had to tick those boxes. You know, a bonus if English was used at some level, because it makes things a little bit easier, especially in government. And, you know, they had to have a really good, you know, dollar value. It's all about the value. Most people live where they think they get good value. Some people think living in Brentwood or Bel Air is good value. Good for you if you can afford it, no problem with that. I like people to reward themselves with success if you've got a lot of money. But I think for the rest of us, we typically live where we can afford. In Vancouver, where I was born and I've spent a lot of time, you got to make a lot of money just to be a very common person, and you waste a lot of it to high taxes. You waste a lot of it for fuel, which is very expensive, commuting to where you need to be. We have a monopoly on the insurance, which the government controls, so you pay a lot for car insurance, you know, cigarettes, alcohol, the sin taxes, which I guess that's fine. If you want to indulge, you know, a little bit too much in those types of things, well, I guess it's your own fault if you actually are wasting money that you can't afford to lose on those types of things. So, you know, I'm not moving where the tequila's cheap like Carolyn. But good for her if she enjoys it. So where I am going, I was influenced by a bunch of YouTubers. I'm going to start naming some names. First of all, I want you to check out Senseofstile. He's been a friend of mine for years. He's called me from where he's been living. He's originally an RVer from Los Angeles. And over the years, he's called me from his retreat overseas, where I'm actually going. I'm about to say it. Just hold on there, folks. Hold your horses. And for years, he'd call me using Magic Jack, and we'd shoot the shit, you know, every couple months for a few hours. And I'd always think we're you know, how he's living. I'd ask questions. Well, how much you spending? And he'd give me a number like, oh, $800. I can't even spend $800. Maybe a bad month I can spend $1,000. And it's not like he's not trying to spend money. He's spending the money. He's living in a gated community. A walled gated community with security. He's got cable TV, he's got air conditioning, yada yada yada. You know, a building that's only a few years old. And I would always think, well, that's very interesting, but your country that you're at, it's not really been on my radar. I've never really thought of it as the place that's for me. But of course, we all change. When I was a kid, you know, growing up in the far north of the Yukon, I always thought LA, especially in the 70s, LA was the place. And actually, LA was cheap. It was affordable, a lot safer than it is now. I always thought, wow, that was paradise, because I used to see, you know, the world from a TV set from the far north, and I'd watch The Tonight Show, which later in life I actually spent a lot of time on The Tonight Show in the audience. Even had Jay Leno use one of the jokes that one of the production assistants asked me while I was in the long lineup. So, you know, I got LA out of my system over the many trips that I've gone down to Southern California. Spent a lot of my life in the US of A in Southern California, and it's not all that it's cracked up to be anymore. You all know that, especially you conservatives out there. You know that LA's got problems. You know, I guess it's a great place if you're a neoliberal socialist or you work in the entertainment industry. Yeah, I get it, but not for me. So anyway, my friend senseofstile, who I've actually met, he RV'd up to Canada, up to the border at Peace Arch once, and we had a little barbecue together. And over the years, we've kept in touch. Like I said, he's called me numerous times over the last 6 years. And then about, I'd say, 6, 8, 9 months ago, it kind of clicked what he was saying to me. And I figured, you know what, I'm going to do some due diligence and check out where he's living to see if it is for me. So I used the resources of other YouTubers who he also knows, so I guess we have common acquaintances on YouTube. senseofstile, John, that's actually his name. He knows Old Dog, and every man has a story. It's another YouTuber from where I'm heading to. I'm getting to it. I swear I'm getting to it. And of course, other resources like Geo, and there's the big tipper, the Filipina Pea. Yes, the Filipina Pea. Really good resources to learn how to move to the Philippines. And that's where I'm moving, folks, to the Philippines. And I'm looking at Dumaguete, of course, and Cebu City. Leaning more, of course, to Dumaguete because it's quieter, a little more chill than Cebu City. But I will be spending time also, of course, in Manila. There's a lot of work at hand. Every week I'm a little closer to bank accounts getting bigger, selling more crap, getting ready. And I definitely want to thank John from the YouTube channel, Sense of Style, for all the videos that he has posted from the Philippines. At the moment, he's actually in the US of A, temporarily, even though he's still got the apartment in Dumaguete. And he's been so generous with his time and all the crazy questions. A lot of the questions I had were very, very important. Some of them, were easily answered. Some, took a little bit of time, but he's been very, very patient and been an incredible wealth of resources in terms of information. Because obviously anybody that's done it for 5-6 years, they know what they're talking about. Just like me, if you got a question about the RV lifestyle, I've been doing it for 8 years. If you got a question, ask me. I'll give you an answer. You don't have to pay me like Carolyn's RV life. You don't have to pay me. Yeah, everybody's in it for the money, except for me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the YouTube crew. Old Dog, Geo in the Philippines, and every man has a story. So I anticipate I will be on their channel sometime over the next 6 months. Now, what's the time frame? Well, there's a lot of things that have to be done, like I said, and there's various visas that I may apply for to become a permanent resident in the Philippines. The logistics of ending my life here is complex, and a lot of stuff has to be sold. And even the RV, at some point, I think in the winter, I'll probably start marketing the RV. Probably going to give you Americans a good shot at buying it, because as I've said for years, you Americans right now with your strong American dollar, you might get more value for your money buying an RV from Canada. So I'm going to give you Yankee Doodle Dandies in the winter the first shot at buying my RV in some USD. And if you crunch the numbers, well, if it works for you, maybe one of you will own my RV. And here's the good news about anybody who buys my RV. You're getting extras. I'm throwing in a generator. You're getting the Go Power solar system. You're getting the built-in 3,000 watt inverter. You're getting all the new appliances that I've replaced right now to a new toilet, water heater, the upgrade to the electric awning. I'm going to throw in all the stuff, cutlery, bedding, sheets. Yeah, it'll all be clean. You can throw it out if you want, but I'm throwing in all the extras. Even a digital PVR so that you can record over-the-air television. Of course, I'm throwing in a smart TV and another TV for the back bedroom. Oh boy, ice machine. How would you like to have an ice machine? You can even run that ice machine on the solar system while you're boondocking. So I'm throwing in a lot of extra appliances. Oh, air fryer. Of course, how can I forget the air fryer? I love the air fryer. Throwing in all the extras, probably even a blender. Literally, when I hand over the keys to whoever buys my RV in the winter or in the spring, it's a turnkey operation. Boom. I'm pretty much leaving Canada with a bank account, a pension, my benefits, and my dog, maybe a Fender Stratocaster, and one of those Bluetooth speakers, and a bunch of clothes. That's it. Anything I need, I'll just buy. I'm not worried about stuff. I got a full storage locker full of crap. I find that Vancouver is so prosperous. I offer a lot of nice stuff to people But everybody, you know, in terms of my peer group, they all have lots of nice stuff. So I can't even give a lot of my stuff away and say, hey, would you like this? Free. They go, not interested. I got so much of my own stuff. So that's where I'm going, folks. Dumaguete, or maybe Cebu City. A few other towns that are kind of on the radar, but that's where it's happening. Hope to be there for my first trip on the first leg of the journey in about 10 weeks. Maybe November. Maybe earlier if I can get my ducks in a row, but probably November. And we'll see how it goes. I'll probably have to come back here, sell the RV and the car. That's the last two things that are going to be sold. I got a lot more extra goodies being sold right now. And we'll go from there. And I will see you next year. Of course, I'll be making videos along the way, how this whole thing progresses and the journey and all the regulations and red tape. Because what can you do? All governments of the world got a little bit of red tape when you got to move there. But I'm ready for it. I've been well educated by senseofstile and all the rest of the YouTube family there in Dumaguete, Philippines. So join me on the journey as I say goodbye to the RV full-time living and move overseas. And Carolyn, I know you're watching. Please, for the love of God, don't move to the Philippines just because I'm moving there. It's wrong. It's creepy. The fact that you've been following me around, please stop. Please just live in Mexico like you said you're going to do. And I wish you well, Carolyn. In the meantime, folks, post your comments down below. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.
I got you.